Welcome to Her True Story, a podcast about real women, real struggles, and real transformations. I am Nathalie. I'm a coach, a healer, and a lifelong listener. In each episode of this podcast, I will share the true story of Claire. Claire could be you. She could be me. Claire carries the voice of countless women, their doubts, their strength, their awakening. This is her true story, and maybe it's yours too. So today, this is the episode 0 of this podcast. The one when I explain to you what it is. Welcome to Her True Story. This is a space to reconnect with what's real, what's genuine, and what still lives quietly inside us, waiting to shine. So let me start by telling you a little bit about why this podcast exists. Since I was very young, I've always been curious about people, about their stories, their cultures, their energy, their lives. I spent over 30 years as a qualitative researcher. I still am. 30 years traveling, observing, listening, and I have had the privilege of meeting people in many cities around the world, hearing them share some pieces of who they were. And through all those years, one thing never stopped fascinating me: the human connection. A few years ago, I had a deeper calling. That's when I started Flower and Flow, my life coaching and energy healing practice. It grew alongside my research work, but it brought a different kind of fulfillment, a deeper one. Because now, instead of only listening to people's stories, I help people shape what comes next for them. I'm a proud certified life coach with Mind Valley, and I work mostly with women in business, as I call them, from all around the world. French, of course, as I'm French, Chinese, British, American, Italian, Indian. All of them are brilliant women, strong women, capable, responsible, but still often carrying invisible weight. Behind the achievements, there are patterns that drain them, fears that hold them back, emotions that never got to be expressed, limiting beliefs dressed up as logic, pain that nobody sees. And what strikes me the most is how universal this is. Session after session, I hear kind of echoes. Like a woman in Paris tells me something I just heard from another woman in Rio, or a leader executive in London expresses the same doubt I heard from another manager in New York. It's what I call the power of resonance. And that's when I often say, you won't believe this, but just last week, another woman told me something very similar to what you're telling me now. So let me tell you what she said. And I do tell her, not to compare, but to connect. And suddenly, when I do that, something shifts. My client feels seen, heard. She breathes deeper. She realizes that she's not alone, that her struggle doesn't make her weak, it just makes her human. And if another woman found her way through it, maybe she can too. That's how transformation begins. So I started sharing these stories to inspire, to normalize, to heal. And now they've become the soul of this project. Of course, as a coach, I like to think of myself as a mirror, one that catches the light from the women I coach and reflects it back to them, but just a little brighter, so that others can see their own light again, the one they thought was gone and dimmed forever. And so Claire was born. Claire is not one woman. She is many. She actually holds pieces of every client I've worked with. And yes, sometimes she holds pieces of me too. So every story you will hear in this podcast is real. Sometimes it's lightly adjusted, of course, for privacy, but always truly lived by someone, always deeply felt. So Claire could be you. She could be your friend, she could be your sister, she could be your colleague. She represents the strength, the doubts, the pain, and the resilience that live in all of us. What about her name, Claire? I chose it because it evokes clarity, vision, light. Those are all of the things that we often forget that are already inside us. So, I invite you to meet Claire, to listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart, to feel what stirs inside you as her story unfolds. Because this is not just her story, it might be your story too.